Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this week's weekly market analysis class, Monday the 29th of January. Before we do get started, as always, please understand that any advice in today's session is of a general nature only and that your personal circumstances have not been taken into consideration. Okay, let's have a look at first of all the data that is due out this week. Let's talk a little bit about what's been happening in the markets, and we'll move our way through to our charts. Okay, first of all, let's start with the US dollar. Basically, last week there are many geopolitical issues surrounding the US dollar at the moment. One is the China Treasury situation. They threatened or hinted at a decrease in the number of treasuries purchased. So that's the first issue. We also had the Bank of Japan's inflation situation and a possible policy changes which will also affect the US dollar, US solar import tariffs. Also, on top of all of that, their own treasury made comments about the benefits of a weaker US dollar. So all that tied in together has pretty much put the US dollar, I guess, should we say, a non-flavor of the month, and it has been tanking against most of the other major currencies. From a technical point of view, the US dollar is due for a bounce or some kind of a correction, and this week we have, in terms of data that is due its way, we have, let's have a look, a whole bunch of stuff. It's actually a very, very important week for the US dollar. First of all, we have Mr. Trump will be speaking, and this will be his first State of the Union address. That happens over here on Wednesday, about till 1 p.m. We have FOMC policy announcement as well. One thing to note with this FOMC statement and any interest rate decisions that may be made is that it's Miss Janet Yellen's last address as she moves on. So one would think that she will be cautious and not rock the boat too much, and nothing too drastic would be announced. That would be what is assumed. Let's see what is delivered. Finally, the big one for the US dollar is we have non-farm payrolls due at the end of the week. So it's a really, really, really big US dollar week, and I've highlighted over here with an asterisk non-farm payrolls, which is due on Saturday wee hours of Saturday morning, or 12:30 a.m. Saturday morning, or late Friday night, however you choose to view that. If we move along, have a look at the GBP. Last week we saw the GBP USD break the 143 level, and that was a combination of a few things. One of those was definitely US dollar weakness. Also, we did see stronger data come from the UK, and finally the prospect of a Brexit deal to be had definitely put investors in a positive mood and pro sterling. That was last week. This week, the major events that we have is we have PMI numbers, which are due Thursday, Friday, with mainly manufacturing and construction. We also do have the Governor Carney speaking on Wednesday morning. If we move along, let's have a look at our own Aussie dollar. Well, it continued to gain against the US dollar, and yes, that is largely due to the weakness of the US dollar, but we did break the 81 high, and we broke previous highs, so we're still way off our historic highs, but we did touch that area. One feels that a correction is coming, and perhaps non-farm payrolls may be the catalyst towards the end of the week, or perhaps even next week, RBA's announcement. And we have seen in the past the ABA has definitely have the power and has done so to dampen the mood for the appetite for Australian dollars. This week we have, earlier in the week or midweek, we have CPI numbers which are due out on Wednesday. From Europe, nothing huge happening. The only major one I should point out would be over here. We have CPI numbers here on Wednesday. That's pretty much the gist of it for the euro. I think the currency this week that will be affected the most by data is definitely going to be the GBP USD. So please take note of the times when data is being released. So if you are trading this particular pair, that you don't get affected accidentally. All the times that I'm showing you are in my local time, which is Australian Eastern Standard Daylight Savings Time. I'm located in Sydney. All right, let me bring my charts forward and let's start the analysis. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to type them in, bring them out, and I'll be more than happy to address them for you. Just give me one moment while I just sort out the questionnaire box. All done. Okay, let's get started. Aussie US dollar. Now, I have featured this particular chart on my daily chart of the day. And the reasons for that is, we were coming up to these levels here, and as we go across, we're very, very there or thereabouts. Now, this morning's chart of the day, I feel that we've perhaps shot it through a little bit more. If you notice over here, these are just only wicks, whereas these ones here, there's a little bit of body that's gone through that. So it's not necessarily the way that I like it best. Let me just draw a line, see if I can highlight this to you. Ideally, I'd like to draw that line, say, through about there somewhere. So if I bring that right across, you can see that I'm just barely touching the wick over here. Okay, I'm missing this spot at all. Over here, that's what I would call a nice touch. So if I was to just grab that line and bring it to where I feel is the correct area over here, essentially what would happen is that's probably where I would like it. And all of a sudden now you can see that I have all this area which is above the line, which doesn't really look like what you would typically think is a double top or a double bottom. Okay, so there wasn't really much on this morning, so this was the best looking chart that I could find. I did make note of what I've just commented on right now. Look, if we're really aggressive, we could possibly squeeze it into that kind of region there, and hope that we can produce an inside candle out of today's candle and yesterday's Friday's candle, and then hopefully be able to shoot it down. Now, until I see what this actually ends up looking like, that will make up my mind whether I feel that it's there is merit and I can in fact try and take that type of trade. For the time being, we either need to see the market just pull off a little bit, and which the inside candle could produce for us and give us an opportunity to trade it. If it doesn't do that, well then let's see, let it move past that area, and essentially what we would then be looking for is, once we do get through this region properly, we're looking for a pullback and to continue in the direction of the trend. Okay, if I zoom this chart out and I look across to my left to see what's available, we can see there was this little area here. This it's not a super significant point, but we are at the same levels there again. Okay, so let's see what happens. Let's see if that holds, if it gives us an inside candle and gives us the opportunity to trade it in a downward direction. For the time being, we've got to wait at least for today's candle to finish, so we may have a setup tomorrow. Okay, does anybody have any questions on that particular one, or any observations? Let me just zoom back in. So essentially what we're doing is we're waiting for today's candle to finish. Let's see if it ends as an inside candle, and let's see what the overall picture looks like, and we'll make a decision tomorrow morning if we trade it or not. If I like it and I am going to trade it, it'll probably be tomorrow's chart of the day. Okay, so that's a one way that you can check to see how it happened. All right, let's move along and have a look at the Euro USD. Okay, Now, I've still got this little line over here, which tells me that I've been waiting. I was waiting for the little pullback to continue upwards. Now, it has continued to go up, but it didn't really pull back. It hasn't given me an entry anywhere around here. So let me zoom out now. Let's see how we are sitting. Are we at any particular decent level? Okay, so we're kind of in no man's land, but we have produced an exhausting candle, a candle that is running out of puff. We've followed it up with an inside candle. Today, so far, we've got an inside candle. I would love this setup to be at a point of resistance, because then I would be happy to just trade this down. As it stands, it's not really sitting on anywhere. Let me just see if I can find something else. What do we think about this? I don't really like this point that much. And if I can't use this, then effectively it doesn't lock in the third point. So it feels a little bit on the strange side. Let me zoom in. Let's have a closer look. If that first point that I showed you works, well, then we can definitely take advantage out of this and attempt inside candle trades on the way down. Look, it's the first point which has got me, which I don't like. And the reason I don't like it is because it doesn't feel like it's the significant point. If it was that point there, it would be better. But there is a little dip there, but it doesn't feel like this is the point that I should be using. So look, let's just walk away from it. It's more intuition than anything. It just feels like it wants to go down, but I can't. I'm looking for a reason to justify it and double it up. Let me just see if I can see another reason. Give me 1 second. Let's get rid of that one. Let's drop into a 4-hour chart for a moment. No, it's not working on a 4-hour chart. Okay, I can't find a reason to take this trade. So what I might do is, if I do get another inside candle and I feel some compression, what I can do is possibly on a 1-hour chart, drop down and try and trade a convergent triangle. Okay, so that's Andrew's asking me, what about fib levels? Let me check them. See, there's no real good swings either here. No, I couldn't use fib levels. There's not a decent swing to be able to do that. Look, so what I'm saying is, keep an eye out on this. If today's candle finishes as an inside candle again, tomorrow you should be able to jump into a 1-hour chart and see a lot of compression. So what might happen is the third point, this may go up to about there, come back down here, and then on a daily chart, it'll look like 3 inside candles. On an hour chart, you'll get something like this. And then if we break down this way, then that's the trade that I'm interested in. Okay? Only because I feel it's exhausted. The movement is exhausted. But the only way that I can justify it will be on a 1 hour chart, but I do need to wait for today's candle to finish, and let's see if it plays out. Okay. All right, a little bit more advanced, but sometimes when you get that intuition and you're looking for the trade, you just need to see what you're looking for. So I'll leave these markers on my chart because they'll remind me of what I was actually looking at. Let's move along. Let's have a look at the GBP USD. Similar situation, exhausting market, but let's zoom out first of all over here. Again, we're really nowhere decent. What I can feel that may happen here is if this ends up being a level where we stay at, it could help us produce the next point over here. Okay, and then we would be trading these parallel lines or a rising channel. Now I don't know yet if this is the point, but if it does play out and it is the point, well then the first trade that we could look for would be down here, over here. Okay, if it does start to pull back, the other type of trade that you can look for would be anywhere in here, continuation of trend. Okay, so you can look for that. Now remember, these blue lines that I've just drawn on my chart, really, it's not technically a proper channel until we get down to here. If it does not come to here, then you can just delete these lines out and it's technically not a channel at all. So I'm just leaving them in there for now because it's going to remind me and jolt my mind as to what I'm specifically looking for. Let me have a quick look on a 4 hour and let's see if there's anything there. Okay, nothing there either. So I'm just going to leave this chart as I've said. So the first trade that may come along will be some kind of a pullback, and then look for that type of situation. Of course, every time I draw that little circle, what I'm looking for is I am looking for a price action setup inside of that circle. So if you don't get it, well then obviously that means just walk away from the trade. Okay, let me see, what have I got next? Gold. Gold's been going great guns. Okay, gold's different. Okay, gold we got a setup. Can everybody see it? Oh, again, sorry, hang on, give me a sec. It's just a little bit on the high side. What do we think, guys? Is that, are we happy-ish with that point? What do you think? If you don't know, just type in the letter N. If you think yes, just yes. If not, just put in a question mark. I've got a split room right now. What do we think? Okay. All right. Look, I'm happy to take this one. It just feels that this move is. It feels a little bit exhausted, and we've produced. There's my 2 inside candles. Now, technically, we haven't broken that yet, so we have not triggered as yet. So, my trigger point, I'm just going to enter this one manually. Give me 1 second. Let me just take some notes of the numbers. I want to make sure that I get this right. My low is 1344.58. 1344.58. My high, I just want to measure out how much it's going to cost me. I do have to take a a decent sized trade here to it'd be about 220 US dollars if I take the smallest unit possible if you wanted to take this trade. Okay, so I'm just going to place it right now and I'll enter the smallest trade possible. So can I go 0.01? No, I can't go 0.01. I have to go 0.1 would be the smallest. Now my entry 1344, let's make it 1344.50, 44.50. I'll just put any stop and I'll adjust it in 1 second. Let's make this 63. And likewise, any target and I'll adjust it in 1 second. Alright, so it's the smallest that I can take, so I can't take a smaller trade than that. Again, the risk is going to be around about 230 US dollars, so if that's too much for you, then just sit it out. So there's it's a market order, it's a sell stop. Now I need to adjust that stop. There we go. And right now, I'll just set it to 2 to 1. And of course, I'll have now it's important to note if you wanted to close out half the trade at that level, which is the 1 to 1 point, this is the 2 to 1 point, okay, and that's my stop. I can't actually close half of the smallest unit. The smallest unit is 0.1, so if you told your MT Full Supreme to close half of your trade, it won't be able to do it. All right. So in this particular case, you couldn't do the approach of close 50%. You can move your stop or something like that when it gets to a certain level, but you can't close half of your trade. So you need to think about this one. I'm just going to start it off there, and after the class, I usually program my stop to move to this level, and then I'll make a decision whether I close it all or let it run. Okay, but anyway, there's my order. I have not been triggered into the market yet. We have a sell stop at 1344.50. Okay, that's gold, and the reason for the trade is we feel that we are on a resistance point, and if I zoom right out, I feel that we've got a bit of there, a little bit here, and a little bit here. So that's where it's coming from. So we have placed a pending order. Let's have a look at the US yen. Okay, last week or the week before, I can't remember, we drew this channel. We were hoping to get something from there. We didn't get a setup. It did bounce a bit, but no setup, and it's broken straight through. Let's get rid of this channel now because it's no good to us anymore. Let me zoom out and let's see what we got. Okay, the next logical step, and let's just mark it, is going to be in here somewhere. The next logical step would be if the US dollar fell to this region here, where we would look for price action for a bounce back. If that does not happen and just starts to move back right now from this level, then what we would look for is over here, continuation of the move, price action in there for continuation of the move down. Let me see if there is anything else. That's pretty much it. You can see that this whole region, the market's been trading in that region between 108 and 113 for a while. So this will be key. This area here will be key to see if we can bounce it. If it doesn't go there right now and it starts to move up straight away, which wouldn't surprise me, because if you have a look previously, the level was here, which coincides with that. And this little spike through, sometimes there is so much of a build-up of stop orders just below key resistances that what happens is the market dips down temporarily quickly, being triggered by all these orders having a bit of a domino effect, and then until the market until new money comes into the market and pushes it back up. So it is not uncommon to get a little bit through a resistance point. Okay, nevertheless, I'll still mark that area there, and if it should bounce up right now, I'm not willing to trade it as a bounce right now, but if it should do it, then if it gets to here, then I'm definitely there. I'm looking to trade it back down. Okay. All right, that's US yen. Let's move it along. Let's have a look at, I've got the euro yen on my charts. Where have I got that? Okay, euro yen. Euro yen, once upon a time, used to be my favorite trading pair, but it has become so boring of late. It's hardly moving. Look at this, just nothing, nothing, nothing. I got nothing on this chart. Let me get rid of some things. Okay, I don't mind that line. So based off this, the natural thing to look for is a little bit of a move into this direction and then shoot up with a nice price action reversal pattern. All right, this one's pretty straightforward. So we've just changed the line, and it's changed the mood of the chart. Anything else here? No. Okay. One thing to look out for on a chart like this, especially when it has been on a relatively, been going up for a while. So this point here this is April of last year. Okay, so from here, effectively, it's gone from 115 to 135. That's, how much is that? That's 2,000 pips. Okay, so that's a significant, no, is that 2,000 pips? Yes, 2,000, nearly 2,100 pips. Okay, so it's been going for a long, long time. It could be due to a break. So then when you find a line like this, the break-in trade like this can be quite powerful. So if you're a breakout trader and you like that, keep an eye out on that as well. We've just drawn the line in. Let's see what happens. If we break it, then it could be a really nice breaking trade in the opposite direction, specifically because it's been going in one direction for so long. All right, let's move it along. Kiwi dollar. Kiwi dollar, I've marked this level out. I talked about this point not being the best point last week because this is the significant point for it to be a proper double top. Nothing has changed. Let me see if there's anything else available. Luckily, we didn't produce anything here anyway, so price action would have kept you on the sidelines. And really, there's nothing. What about a 4-hour chart? Even less. Okay, so let me get rid of this. With this chart, we need to wait for it to develop a bit more. So let's see if it does pull back and maybe shoot it in this direction. That seems to be the most logical trade available on the Kiwi dollar at the moment. But right now there is specifically nothing. Some people would trade this as a double top. I don't like it because it's not a true double top. all this stuff should have been down here like that, then you can say that's a double top. All right. So Kiwi dollar, we do nothing this week. Let's have a look at oil. Keeps on moving up. Now we're still in no man's land, so we've cleared this region and we're into this air pocket, so which basically means I have no mechanism to try and find where the reversal point could possibly be. So the only thing to do with this one is try and continue trade with the trend. Unfortunately, it hasn't given us any setups around here. There was no setup. Maybe this time if it comes back, it can give us a setup so that we can trade it forward. Not interested in shorting at all. I've got no reason, got no resistance, got nothing at all. So all I can look for is little pullbacks and look for entries to continue in the direction of the trend. All right, so that's all we have for oil. Last one of the week. Let's have a look at the ASX. The only thing I really want to do on this chart is I want to maybe try and squeeze something in here. It's very choppy and messy. It's not the prettiest looking chart. I'm not going to do anything with the ASX 200 this week. Okay guys, I've just covered all the majors. If anybody has any questions, please type them in. Let me go back and just recap. We've placed one live trade. And let me have a quick look. All right, Aussie dollar, it could possibly be a double top. It's not the prettiest looking one. Notice there is a difference between this one and the Kiwi dollar. Kiwi dollar, this part was higher. Okay, so there is a difference. The only thing that we don't like about this one is the long wicks, which is constituting the chart. In any case, we're going to wait for today's candle to finish, and let's see what we have tomorrow. Euro USD, this one is just more of intuition. It just feels like the move is exhausting and it could be due for a reversal. We've produced two inside candles, so let's see what happens here. We could drop into like a 1 hour chart and try and trade the break down. GBP USD, we are in no man's land. This channel that I've drawn is not locked in until we come back and touch it here. So we've just drawn it to keep us alert of what we potentially think could happen. But at the moment, there's really nothing there. Gold, we have taken a break-in inside candle downside trade. My entry is 144.50. I've placed a stop at 1367. Roughly 90 and target at 1303.35. Remember, if you do take this one, the smallest increment's going to cost you if we get stopped out around about 240, 230 USD. So you got to convert that to whatever your base currency is. US yen, we're going to wait for the floor. Euro yen, we've added in a support line. Let's see if the support line holds. If it doesn't, it could have a good movement in the downward direction, since this market has been pretty much going up since April of last year. Kiwi dollar, we said we're doing nothing. WTI, best we can hope for is pullbacks and continuation of trend. ASX, we are doing nothing. Okay, a couple of questions. The DAX, let me have a look at that. Where's the DAX? Definitely uptrend. If I was to do this, I can see there's an inside candle here, possibly to trade continuation. That's what I would be looking at. We've produced what we're after. That high is higher than this one, only slightly, but it is. So that's what I would be looking for on the DAX. Aussie yen. Someone's asking Aussie yen. Let's have a look. Aussie yen. On a 4-hour chart, I reckon there is... no, it doesn't look as pretty. This is what I can see. A converging triangle. And if you want to get entries, possibly by slipping into the 4-hour chart, you might be able to get some entries. It's got the 2 touches at the top. We've got 2 touches down the bottom. So if it gets to this level again, you'll be looking for that trade. Okay, so that's that one. What's the next question? Let me have a look. Bitcoin. Someone wants to have a look at Bitcoin. Okay, I've been deliberately not looking at the cryptocurrencies because what I do is technical analysis, and technical analysis, yes, is a reflection of what the market sentiment and the behavior. But at the moment, the cryptocurrencies are being hit with what I would call euphoria. And when that happens, essentially all the proper analysis just really pretty much goes out the window. Nevertheless, let's have a look at it as soon as I can find it. Bitcoin. Okay. For a while, it was just one-way traffic, starting to crash. I guess if I was going to analyze this, it would be see, I can't even really pick significant points. The best looking part of the chart is this section here, to be honest. If I can just ignore all this is starting to look like what a normal chart would look like to me. And in there I can see, in there I can see a bit of compression coming in. Okay, it's still a chart that I would not trade from a technical point of view. So if I trade my cryptocurrencies, I'm just doing it like everybody else, just for a bit of speculation. Okay, so from the chart, there's nothing there that I can warrant an entry into that. A comment on the Kiwi dollar, inside candle tomorrow. Let me have a look at my Kiwi dollar. We could, okay, I see what you're saying. Rav, you talking about a long tomorrow if we have the inside candle? Is that what you're referring to? Continuation of trend? Okay, so what Rav's pointed out to me is we are in uptrend. We're pulling back. At the moment, today's candle, which is this one here, I'll point at it, is inside of that one. If it remains that way, what will happen is you'll get a fractal here tomorrow on this one, and you will get 2 candles here with a inside candle, and then basically at the break of that high, we could continue with the trend. Okay, so let's wait and see. Let's have a look at it tomorrow. Even if that's the case, well, then that would be a valid trade as well. Thank you for that. All right. Any further questions? I think I've just covered what most people have asked. If no, feel free to send your questions in whenever they come up, or what I usually say is keep a handy Word doc or something and paste your question in the Word doc, and then when you come to the class, just cut and paste so that you don't have to, 1, you don't forget your question, and 2, it's just quicker to ask it. Question being asked, is there a trading challenge? I guess we should start one soon. I haven't planned it. Yeah, look, I'll do one, and let me announce a date. So I just want the market to settle a little bit. Probably let's aim for either next week or midweek. Well, I'll announce it next week. All right. So we'll get it going again. All right. Incidentally, I've also, for anyone who's interested, I have been tracking the trades that I take on the daily call. So that's on the CSC website. So you can go and have a look at the results and whatever we've taken and whatever we've not taken. And I'm basically posting them as I record, and I take the trades, the ones that I take. Okay. Now remember, they're only trade ideas. That's why I call it the chart of the day. But it's a handy tool for you to start to develop and looking at trades, seeing how they're paying out, and start to be able to spot them on your own. Okay. All right, we'll wrap up for today. Next week, we will possibly start the next trading challenge. So we'll see you all next week. I hope you all have a fantastic trading day. Any questions, like I said, just send them through, and I'll see you all next week. Bye for now.